will not finish it off. These moves just not doing enough damage. A little bit of recoil onto the Incineroar. Glimmora with the Earth Power onto the Incineroar. Good damage, very good damage. And going to proc the Citrus Berry though. It probably puts it well out of range of a Dark Pulse. Was the choice, although it was into the Amoonguss. Very good damage on the Amoonguss though. And to be totally honest, Keanu's Pokemon are decently stalling out the Trick Room, all things considered. No Porygon 2 means it can't get back up, and even if both these Pokemon get knocked out, it's not the end of the world if you're Keanu, as you're able to bring in Pokemon later and potentially try to get through these last two Pokemon. They're very low HP and they're slow. They decide to switch out, you get a free hit on whatever decides to come in. It's going to be the Spore from the Amoonguss onto the Glimmora. Probably the ideal case there, as now the Incineroar is going to be able to knock out the Chi-Yu, and Glimmora is not going to be able to do anything in return. There goes the Chi-Yu. Glimmora will take its sleep turn. There it goes. Very sleepy. Now we'll see what comes in here. Both these Pokemon have options to protect. They will be able to stall out the final turn of Trick Room. Ogerpon also immune to Spore, which is a nice little added bonus. Worst case scenario here for Keanu is that Glimmora doesn't wake up or gets knocked out this turn. Probably that it doesn't wake up and doesn't get knocked out this turn is probably worst case scenario for Keanu. Amoonguss is going to swap out, which then means that Incineroar is not going to swap out. It's going to be the Amoonguss for the extra HP. Urshifu comes in. Spiky Shield from Ogerpon. And Incineroar will Parting Shot out, so Incineroar will also swap out. It'll get the Intimidate cycle, which is very important here. And it does mean Amoonguss comes right back in with that Regenerator health that it gained back. And Glimmora takes a sleep turn. Not going to wake up there. This is an Urshifu Rapid Strike, so we'll get hit pretty hard by an Ogerpon here. Although Ogerpon does have to take a serious guess at what the decision for of this Urshifu is going to be. Whether it's going to stick around here or whether it's going to switch out. As we saw earlier, a U-turn plus a Pollen Puff. Probably enough to finish off a Ogerpon. Maybe not enough there. That did not do nearly enough damage. Incineroar will come back in. Keanu has to read this move and get the Incineroar out of there with a Ivy Cudgel right now, I think. Or this could get kind of ugly. It is an Ivy Cudgel into the Incineroar slot. That should finish it off. Only a -1, and Keanu does have the potential of swapping out the Ogerpon. Little dangerous move, but does have an opportunity to do that, and frankly doesn't strictly need to. Another sleep turn for Glimmora, that's painful. Pollen Puff not going to finish off the Ogerpon, but another U-turn probably will. But a U-turn means that Urshifu is locked into something other than Surging Strikes. Basically can't lock itself into Surging Strikes at this point, which definitely puts Keanu at an advantageous position. Not an extremely advantageous position, but certainly a nice position. Lucas is Rocky Helmet, so the Urshifu in the back is not going to be able to hit it without breaking its own sash. It'll be a little strange. It'll be a little strange. I mean, this Glimmora has to wake up this turn, I believe. Like it's straight up required to. And there we go. We will see the Terrastal finally used. It's going to be the Terra Grass onto the Glamora for Keanu. Could be the attempt to take a hit here. Close combat into the Ogre Pond, going to finish that one off. Is Terra Grass now, so another Spore will not affect the Glamora. Ogre Pond's gone. Glamora wakes up, finally. Goes for a Sludge Bomb into the Urshifu. That does about half the HP there. Spore into the Glamora. Doesn't affect it as it goes, as a Grass type now. And now, that should be a decent spot for Keanu to be in now. As it'll be difficult for Urshifu to stay standing after this turn, and difficult for Amoonguss to do much to Glamora. There's still a couple of opportunities here. It'll depend on speed. Rage Powder, we'll see, is the first option from Amoonguss. Could change a lot. Close combat into the Glamora, finishes it off. That was Junxi's going first because it is Scarfed, so it will be the faster one regardless. I believe that'll do it for Junxi most likely, as the Wicked Blow here doesn't even pick up the KO, but would have taken it out of Focus Sash range, which would allow it to get knocked out by the close combat here from the Urshifu. Sucker Punch unlikely to have changed anything. That should be Junxi getting through game number 1 with that knockout. Game number 1 to Junxi. Going to be definitely well played by Junxi down the end of that one. Had some issues early on. The Porygon 2 getting knocked out early was not good, but the Amoonguss was just able to play things slow, get the Spore down. Full 5 turns of sleep for the Glamora was certainly a deciding factor of that one. But I think both players have things they would rather take back from that game, and so we could see a lot of changes in game number 2 here. Keanu moving pretty quickly. See how quickly Junxi decides to make the choices there. Again, we saw Incineroar Porygon as the lead last time. And for everything, Porygon 2 burned the Terra and also got knocked out pretty quickly. Did not get a whole lot done. This is an opportunity for Junxi to at least change up that strategy a bit. Did get Trick Room up pretty early, and the Trick Room certainly got a lot of value down. Is Porygon 2 Incineroar again? And it's Flutter Mane and Chiyu this time for Keanu. Incineroar out here again. The most likely fake out target is obviously that Chiyu. Attack rises for Porygon 2. Again, not ideal. Flutter Mane with a booster speed. Not going to be too useful if Trick Room ends up getting set up quickly. And I guess what Keanu's trying to figure out, does have the Terra Ghost in order to completely nullify the fake out pressure and try to get rid of Porygon 2 immediately. Question is, how much damage is necessary to get rid of this Porygon 2? Would a Heat Wave do it, or does it require an Overheat? We're going to see the Terrastal here. And there it is, the Chiyu Terrastalizing into the Ghost type, now immune to Fake Out. Junxi knows that this is a possibility. Could go for a knockoff instead. We'll go for Terra instead on Junxi's side. Will Terrastalize the Porygon 2, so that'll make it resistant to the Moonblast, but still equally susceptible to that Overheat. Fake out, no targets to hit, went for the Chiyu. Here it goes, Moonblast. tiny chunk of Porygon 2's HP. The overheat, not going to be enough. Not enough to take down the Porygon 2, and that could be a great opportunity for Junxi now. Able to flip the dimensions, and so many options now for Junxi. At this point, Porygon 2 is the fastest Pokemon on the field, can go for a recover. At that point, it will probably take hits from both of these Pokemon after a recover here, given that Chiyu is now at half of its initial special attack. And Incineroar can feel pretty comfortable just throwing out knockoffs if it wants to, or even a Flare Blitz into the Flutter Mane. Or even parting shots if it wants to get the Amoonguss in to try to help. Particularly to help alongside this Porygon 2. Make sure it stays healthy. Regardless, Junxi in a great spot here. There is the recover. Incineroar with the knockoff into the Chiyu, not actually going to knock it out. Very close, though. Chiyu with the overheat again into the Porygon 2. Nowhere near enough damage. Again, a harsh drop to the special attack. Moonblast again into Porygon 2. Not going to drop it. Porygon 2 can recover once again. 8 PP is more than enough. And it'll be able to keep hanging on to these hits. And without a way for Keanu to break through that, it might be pretty quickly curtains for this tournament. Three turns of Trick Room remaining here. Keanu has the tools to stall out Trick Room here, but might not have the tools to break through Porygon 2 after Trick Room is stalled. Might actually be the issue. Chiyu's going to swap out, try to get back that overheat damage potentially for later. Ogerpon's going to come in. Will also make it a little bit more resistant to a knockoff. It doesn't have to worry about knockoff very much other than just a little bit of damage. Recover comes through. Best case scenario for Junxi would be a parting shot into the... A Flare Blitz into the Flutter Mane is fine. Best case scenario would have been parting shot into the Ogerpon, but this is a totally fine situation if you are Junxi right now. And Porygon 2 can now start launching out damage. A big Terra Blast into Flutter Mane would be a pretty nice answer here. And there's not a whole lot that can be done about this. Ogerpon switches out. There's also a clear target for a Terra Blast. Chiyu comes back in and might just fall over. There's the Terra Blast. We'll see who it's aimed at. It is aimed at the Flutter Mane. See if this is able to pick up the knockout. It is not. About half the HP there. Flare Blitz will certainly pick up the rest of it, though. As we witness. There goes Flutter Mane. And Junxi still in the driver's seat of this game number 2, the deciding game for this gym challenge here. Premier challenge. Another attempt for Keanu potentially to try to knock out this Porygon with an overheat. Might be enough damage, but a recover would be able to definitely put it out of range. Apart from a critical hit, which might be Keanu's only real out here. On top of that, Chiyu might just get knocked out first, and that would certainly end things. Ogerpon will Spiky Shield. Porygon 2 Terra Blast into the Ogerpon, not going to connect. And a parting shot from Incineroar into Chiyu. That's a bold call, allowing Chiyu to potentially get a shot off. A critical hit is a potential out here for Keanu. It would be... It's very unlikely, but at the very least, a critical hit on an overheat landing onto Porygon 2 is a way that Keanu can stabilize this game a bit. Once we see what Junxi decides to bring out in return. Urshifu coming in now. The overfeed comes through. Is it going to be enough? No, nowhere near enough. Nowhere even close to enough. Trick Room returns to normal now. So, Porygon 2 actually kind of stuck in an awkward spot now, as Ogerpon is here to potentially punish it a bit. Chiyu is going to get knocked over by the U-turn from the Urshifu. Most likely it'll be the Incineroar coming back in here to see the -1 attack on the Ogerpon. Could also be Amoonguss for whatever reason. It's going to be Incineroar. Makes a lot of sense. Get that -1 attack, see if you can keep the Porygon 2 standing. Particularly if it wants to get another Trick Room set up this turn. Here's the Ivy Cudgel, neutral attack, no damage. Porygon 2 absolutely eats and gets another Trick Room up. It's just so hard to answer this team from Junxi. This Porygon 2, just deeply, deeply difficult to match up with. It's just so naturally bulky, and it has the Eviolite to make it absurdly bulky. You don't have an answer like a knockoff or some other item disruptor. It can be difficult, or another Trick Room disruptor, as this thing very slow and able to recover so much. Flare Blitz into the Ogerpon, not actually going to do that much, little under half. Wicked Blow, we'll see what this does into the Porygon 2. Decent damage. The Ivy Cudgel on top of it, not going to get there, barely not enough. But that is, after a recover, it might still knock out, to be totally honest. It's going to be very close, and it could be an opportunity for Junxi to... It's a potential read opportunity. Either you read that the Ogerpon is going to protect, and you do recover, and then you recover again, or you read that the Ogerpon is going to just try to attack you, assuming you will recover, and you attack the Ogerpon and probably finish it off. See, the Ogerpon does protect, and so the Porygon 2 is able to recover. And the Flare Blitz going into the Urshifu slot this time. Gonna take it out of its Focus Sash range. Wicked Blow into the Porygon 2. Good damage, not enough damage. And another recover will probably take it out of range to be knocked out by the Ivy Cudgel. Could also be an opportunity to just say, okay, Porygon 2's going. Spiky Shield, double protect opportunity, not going to get it done. It's going to be another recover from the Porygon 2, so this is an opportunity potentially. The Incineroar is just doing a little too much damage. Brings Ogerpon down to next to no HP. And gives Incineroar its Citrus Berry. It's been doing so much damage with just Flare Blitz that it got it back to itself. Another Wicked Blow, not able to get there. I believe it's one more turn of Trick Room. Keanu can stall out this turn now. It does mean that Porygon 2 will get a free recover turn, and it's also an opportunity potentially to switch out the Incineroar, get another minus attack. Won't matter too much. It matters a bit, as the Incineroar will be in a better spot to win a late game situation against an Urshifu, potentially. We still haven't seen, no switches, still have not seen the last Pokemon for Junxi. Most likely it is the Amoonguss. Do the double protect here. Porygon 2 recovers. Get back all that HP, and the Incineroar going for a parting shot, not going to land it. Aiming for the Urshifu. Trick Room finally over. Big question here. Does Keanu have it in these final two Pokemon to knock out all the remaining Pokemon that Junxi has? It's going to require a lot of weird predictions and reads here, I think. as well as potentially some strange plays from Junxi specifically, and maybe maybe an Ogre-Pun Ivy Cudgel crit or two. The only out here might be an Ivy Cudgel crit, and it's going to be Porygon 2 switching out for Amoonguss. Just adding to things here. It's gonna be the Ivy Cudgel. That should do not a lot of damage. On the critical hit, too. Wicked Blow comes through. Does some good damage to the Amoonguss, but that's not going to mean a whole lot as this Incineroar going to be able to Flare Blitz, finish off the Ogre-Pun, and that should basically be it for this game. Urshifu against the world now, and I don't think Urshifu is going to be able to get it done. A Wicked Blow will finish off the Amoonguss, but it will get taken down by Flare Blitz in a return. Oh no, Incineroar is going to swap out. Porygon 2 will come back in. If Amoonguss drops, it's probably better to have Porygon 2 in, I suppose, now than later. Oh no, Amoonguss is also going to switch out. And Urshifu comes back in. Junxi actually had all 4 Pokemon available still. The peak of balanced play. I mean, we call it balanced. It feels more like a bulky team. But Keanu will forfeit, and Junxi is our Gym Challenge, Premier Challenge champion for today. Just a great set from Junxi, a great day altogether. Showing off the power of that Porygon 2. We've seen so much of it, this Porygon 2, and it always, it never fails to amaze me how much it's able to get done just altogether. That'll be it for today. We are back tomorrow, mid-season showdown tomorrow. There are probably still slots available, so definitely be sure to sign up. It'll be crazy. There'll also be like parking issues, so like take a ride over with someone, carpool. With that, that'll be it for us for today. Meet back here tomorrow. See ya.